Hello, I'm Sebastian. Welcome to 9 Trees podcast. Today, I will summarize and review the book. Quanta and Fields, The Biggest Ideas in the Universe by Sean M. Carroll introduces the conceptual toolkit physicists use to describe nature at its most fundamental level. The book sits at the meeting point of quantum mechanics and field theory, aiming to show how modern physics reframes familiar objects and forces as excitations of underlying fields. Carroll is known for explaining advanced ideas in an accessible, story-driven way, and here he focuses on the shift from thinking in terms of particles to thinking in terms of quantum fields that fill space. Readers are guided through why fields are not just mathematical conveniences, but the natural language for describing electromagnetism, matter, and the quantum vacuum. Along the way, the book connects core principles such as symmetry, uncertainty, and quantization to big-picture questions about what the universe is made of and how it evolves. It is designed for curious non-specialists willing to engage with careful reasoning rather than heavy formalism. I will give you key takeaways from this book. Firstly, from particles to fields as the core ontology. A central theme is the modern move from picturing the world as a collection of tiny hard particles to viewing it as a set of fields extending through space and time. The particle picture is intuitive and historically important, but it strains when you try to unify quantum behavior with relativity or explain how identical particles can be truly indistinguishable. The field picture offers a cleaner foundation. Electrons, photons, and other quanta are described as localized excitations of their respective fields, not independent beads moving through empty space. This shift also clarifies why there can be particle creation and annihilation, processes that appear mysterious if particles are permanent objects, but become natural if the field is fundamental and excitations can come and go. The topic typically explores how fields encode what can happen at each point in space, how quantization turns smooth classical fields into quantum systems with discrete excitations, and why this framework is the standard language for the standard model. The reader comes away with a reoriented sense of what counts as a thing in physics and why that matters for interpreting experiments and cosmology. Secondly, quantization and the logic of quantum behavior. The book emphasizes the conceptual steps that take you from classical expectations to quantum rules. Quantization is not just a trick for getting the right answers, it is a principled way to update how we describe physical systems when nature refuses to behave deterministically. Key ideas include superposition, the probabilistic structure of measurement outcomes, and the role of uncertainty in limiting what can be simultaneously well-defined. Rather than leaning on dense equations, the narrative typically builds intuition for why quantum states are not mere descriptions of ignorance, but fundamental elements of the theory that constrain what is possible. This topic also frames why quantization applies naturally to fields. Once a field is treated as a quantum object, its excitations inherit quantum object. Its excitations inherit quantum features like discrete energy levels and interference. The discussion often connects conceptual puzzles to practical successes, such as the extraordinary predictive power of quantum electrodynamics, while staying focused on the underlying logic. By the end, readers can better distinguish what is genuinely weird about quantum mechanics from what is simply unfamiliar language, and they can see how the quantum framework sets the stage for fields, particles, and interactions to be described in one coherent picture. Thirdly, interactions, forces, and the role of symmetry. Another major idea is that the laws of physics are deeply shaped by symmetry, and that interactions can often be understood as consequences of demanding certain symmetries hold. In quantum field theory, symmetries are not decorative. They govern what kinds of particles exist, how they can interact, and what quantities remain conserved. This topic typically introduces the distinction between global and local symmetries and explains why local symmetries lead naturally to gauge fields, the entities associated with forces such as electromagnetism. Instead of thinking of forces as mysterious pushes and pulls at a distance, the field perspective treats them as interactions between fields, mediated by quanta like photons. The discussion also highlights how symmetries constrain the form of the equations and dramatically narrow the space of viable theories, which is one reason the standard model is so tightly structured. Readers are also invited to see symmetry breaking as a productive feature, not a failure, enabling rich phenomena and emergent behavior. Overall, this topic links abstract mathematical principles to concrete physical outcomes, showing why symmetry is one of the most powerful organizing ideas in modern physics. Fourthly, the quantum vacuum, fluctuations, and what empty space means. The field framework radically changes the meaning of empty space. In everyday language, vacuum suggests nothingness. But in quantum field theory, the vacuum is a physical state of fields with structure and measurable consequences. This topic explores why the lowest energy state of a quantum field is not simply zero activity, and how fluctuations arise from the quantum nature of the fields themselves. The idea of virtual processes and vacuum effects is often introduced carefully to avoid misconceptions, emphasizing that quantum fluctuations are not little particles popping in and out in a literal cartoon sense, but manifestations of the underlying quantum state. The topic typically connects the vacuum to observable phenomena such as shifts in energy levels, forces between conducting plates, or the way fields respond to boundaries and interactions. It can also set the stage for cosmological implications, where vacuum energy and field dynamics play a role in the evolution of the universe. The reader gains a more precise intuition, space is not an inert stage, and the absence of particles does not imply the absence of physics. This reframing helps explain why fields are taken seriously as the basic ingredients of reality. Lastly, big picture payoffs. From the standard model to cosmology. After building the conceptual foundations, the narrative typically expands toward why these ideas matter for the biggest questions. Quantum fields underpin the standard model, our best theory of known particles and forces, and they also provide the language for understanding phenomena that shape the cosmos. This topic ties the micro to the macro, how particle physics informs the early universe, how high energy conditions can change which symmetries are realized, and why the contents of the vacuum and the behavior of fields may influence cosmic expansion. It also highlights limits and open problems, such as how to reconcile quantum field theory with gravity at a fundamental level, what dark matter might be, and why the values of certain parameters seem finely tuned. The emphasis is usually on intellectual continuity. The same core principles of quantization, fields, and symmetry scale up into explanations of matter formation, radiation, and large-scale structure. Readers are left with an appreciation for quantum field theory as both a practical computational framework and a conceptual bridge between laboratory experiments and the history of the universe, while also seeing where the frontier begins and why new ideas are still needed. In conclusion, this book is best for scientifically curious readers, STEM students in early college, and lifelong learners who want a coherent mental model of modern physics without needing a full course in advanced mathematics. If you have encountered popular accounts of quantum mechanics and still feel unsure how it connects to real particles, forces, and the standard model, the field-centered approach can reorganize your understanding in a way that makes later learning easier. The practical benefit is clarity. You gain a more unified picture of what matter is, why interactions occur, and what physicists mean by empty space, which improves how you interpret science news about particle accelerators, cosmology, and new discoveries. Compared with many similar books that stay at the level of wonder or isolated paradoxes, this one is worth buying because it emphasizes structure and continuity, building from basic principles toward the worldview used by working theorists. Carroll's strength is linking big ideas to each other, so readers finish not only impressed by quantum strangeness, but equipped with a framework that makes the strangeness intelligible and the universe feel more comprehensible. If you would like to support Sean M. Carroll, you can buy the book through the Amazon link I've provided in the podcast description. After reading the book, please let me know what you think and share your thoughts. See you around.